The United Nations General Assembly, which is going on right now, and President Obama spoke this morning mostly about Iran, and then new Iranian President Rouhani spoke later this afternoon and spoke mainly about his nuclear program and America. But let's start off with President Obama.
Iranians have long complained of a history of U.S. interference in their affairs and of America's role in overthrowing an Iranian government during the Cold War. On the other hand, Americans see an Iranian government that has declared the United States an enemy and directly or through proxies taken American hostages, killed U.S. troops and civilians, and threatened our ally Israel with destruction. I don't believe this difficult history can be overcome overnight. The suspicions run too deep. But I do believe that if we can resolve the issue of Iran's nuclear program, that can serve as a major step down a long road towards a different relationship, one based on mutual interests and mutual respect. Well, since I took office, I've made it clear in letters to the supreme leader in Iran and more recently to President Rouhani that America prefers to resolve our concerns over Iran's nuclear program peacefully, although we are determined to prevent Iran from developing a nuclear weapon. We are not seeking regime change, and we respect the right of the Iranian people to access peaceful.
Actually, that did signify a lot of change because we have not had direct contact with the Iranians since 1979. That was a bigger conciliatory tone, certainly, than we had in our previous president, Mr. George W. Bush. And actually, they said that Rouhani and Obama might meet today at a lunch, but then it turned out that wine was being served there, so Rouhani would not go, or at least that was the excuse that they gave. What do you guys make of this speech? Everybody gives the big peace speech at the UN. This happens every year, and then very little changes. But this does sort of feel like a bit of a sea change with the way we talk to Iran,
well,
right?
It certainly is a sea change. There's just hilarity all over that, his remarks, when he says, sure, we overthrew their democratically elected government, but then after that, they thought we were their enemy.
Right.
So it's just funny all the way through. You think you overthrow a democratically, and then you put in a puppet, and guess what? It's all about oil. It's all about oil.
Of course.
That's what it was about in '53 because they nationalized the oil, and that's why we hate Venezuela. They nationalized their oil. So whenever
they aid terrorists.
Oh, that's right. That's it. I'm sorry. They aid
that
terrorists.
comes after.
You always get that wrong.
Yeah. So it's funny, and it's just funny to see. It's really funny to see Barack Obama just be one of the boys.
I think, though, that's everything Jimmy says is, of course, 100% true. But when is the last time, and the answer is never, an American president opened remarks to the United Nations by pointing out what the other side's beef with us is? Like, the fact that he said it, that was enormously conciliatory. Right. He didn't say it's a terrorist rogue nation developing a nuclear program, endangering the world. He's like, they think we meddle in their affairs and that we overthrew a democratically elected government.
Yeah.
Which, of course, is, there's no one disputes that. That's fact.
Right.
And he's like, and then they took hostages. Like, all of a sudden he was going, hey, they have reason to hate us.
Right.
To your point, he did say it.
Yes, he did.
George W. Bush would never have said it. I don't think anybody else would have said it.
But then by the same token, he's also saying, if you make nuclear bombs, we will destroy you.
Well, yes, but you can't not say that. That was stunning to me. Just the mere acknowledgement that their complaints about us, why conservatives' heads will blow up over that, is that he equated the gripes, that they have reason to dislike us and we have reason to dislike them. And okay, let's go forward. Yeah, obviously we're the only ones who can blow you out of the water.
Yeah. Do you guys think that might be Obama's lasting foreign policy legacy more than anything else? Is that he is equating things, and in every fight that we've had, even in Egypt, he didn't sort of pick a side, which then allows people to at least feel somewhat validated that everybody's got a legit argument, and it's not just about terrorism and maybe we did something here or that kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, he did pick a side in Egypt.
Which side was that
We're
again?
still funding the people who are killing their own, and they overthrew a democratically elected government. They didn't like it, but maybe you have another election. You don't just throw it out. So we're still supporting them with money. So I think he did pick a side. If you keep supporting the people who are doing the undemocratic thing, you're choosing a side. But I'll stop being a cynic for a minute and
For
say
1
yes,
minute, go.
it's a big. I did not see any of this coming with Iran.
Yeah.
I'm not the smartest guy in the world either, but this is pretty amazing. It's a big deal,
Yeah.
I think, and I don't want to downplay it. It is a big deal. So all of a sudden, the Peace Prize winner is starting to use peaceful means to negotiate with people.
Yeah.
It's
How much of
nice.
this do you think is just because of everything that happened with Syria in the last couple of weeks? Like, it seems we had a situation in Egypt for about 2 weeks, then we had a situation in Iran for about 3 weeks, in Syria for about 3 weeks, and now we've moved everything to Iran. Like, we're just doing this sort of domino
Yeah.
effect, and it's hard to tell if anything's actually.
I'm just glad the Syria situation's resolved.
Me too.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
I think it's a load off everybody's plate in international affairs.
Right,
and-
because that's all wrapped up. The chemical
Yeah,
weapons, where'd they go?
Thank goodness.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. The problem with that is it was the way you posed the question, Dave. Is it's always true that a president politically is trying to get out of whatever the last political difficulty he was in, but he's also got no choice. I mean, this is what presidenting is.
Yeah.
And an opportunity here to actually maybe this is a real moderate in Iran, and maybe there is a possibility that much to the enormous disappointment of neocons everywhere, we can be convinced that their nuclear program is for energy purposes only, and that these sanctions are crippling and making it impossible for a country that has long wanted to be a buddy in the international, wanted to be, hey, include us. We want to come to your events. We want to send our athletes. We want to go to your economic summit meetings. They want to be a part of it.
Right.
They're not really a rogue state. Maybe this is real.
How much of that do you think, though, is just sort of placating the West? Because Rouhani doesn't even really run Iran, right? I mean,
Right.
the supreme leader. That's why he's called the supreme leader. Khomeini, he runs it. So is it sort of a little disingenuous when they come on Western media and interview with NBC, or they tweet, happy Rosh Hashanah to the Jews or that kind
It's
of thing?
better than denying the Holocaust again.
Yeah.
So I mean, it is baby steps or whatever, but I think it's actually a big leap. I'll be positive. I mean, it's a peaceful. I have to, if I'm going to not back military intervention, I have to back peaceful intervention. So I think it's really exciting. I think in a sense. But I was just going back through some of my notes recently, and I came across a video clip of Barack Obama when he was trying to get people on board for bombing Libya. And the quote was funny. The quotes that he used was, "I'm not going to wait for mass graves before I act." But he did wait for mass graves in Syria before he. It's weird, like 100,000 of them.
Yeah.
So, but the oil, and he wasn't going to wait for mass graves. In fact, he only waited for a few weeks of an oil supply slowdown before he started bombing Libya.
Right.
So it's just interesting to see oil, energy. It's all about oil. It's all about energy. Let's always remember that and never forget that. If we're
So
gonna
you're
bomb
somehow
somebody-
saying no oil in Syria. That's why we didn't go there.
No.
But we got oil in Libya.
Yeah, but the reason why they did start to act was because Qatar wants a pipeline across Syria, and Russia doesn't want that, but Saudi Arabia does, and Syria said no. So it's all about energy again, right? So this peaceful humanitarian intervention in Syria is bullshit. It's all about energy again.
Right. All right, well, although we may be sort of on the peace train here, not everybody is on the peace train, including both Republicans and Democrats. Senators Bob Menendez from New Jersey and Lindsey Graham from South Carolina, they've already written a letter, and Lindsey Graham's trying to get legislation passed already that'll give us war authority against Iran. That's a whole other thing. Like you, we viewed the election of Hassan Rouhani as an indicator of discontent amongst the Iranian people, and we have taken note of recent diplomatic overtures by Iran. However, whatever nice words we may hear from Rouhani, it is Iranian actions that matters. And that's sort of what I was alluding to a little bit earlier. Do the words, how do we put stock in honesty of the words? Or is it just enough to get the words out and then we can start going from there?
Well, look, it's something. No one is thinking, great, we've made peace with Iran. Right? You're a fool to think that. But,
Right.
but obviously, it starts with words. And while like Ahmadinejad, Rouhani doesn't have complete power in Iran. There are those who thought that Ahmadinejad exhibited more power than maybe we realized, and obviously the religious leaders, the clerics back in Iran, if they didn't want this to happen, well, then they. And then, in the other quote, the other stuff you mentioned, Chuck, you mentioned Menendez and Graham, but also there was a letter from Schumer and McCain.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And so I got it. Everybody should be careful. There's nothing wrong with sending these letters as long as no one is saying, don't talk to them.
Right.
Which I'm sort of surprised that McCain and Graham somehow didn't say don't even negotiate.
This is the most peaceful letter that Lindsey Graham's ever sent in his life, right? I mean, this guy's always itching to go to war, as is McCain.
And also, they talk about the lead of this story, which is in the Hill. Senators from both parties Monday warned President Obama he might be walking into a trap by pursuing diplomatic relations with Iran. You can't walk into a trap by pursuing diplomatic relations.
Right.
Diplomatic relations. You know why Iran is Iran and Cuba we don't have diplomatic relations with them. We have diplomatic relations with everyone else, and it makes things infinitely easier.
Right.
So, what trap is going to happen? What secret Muslim trap are they setting here? And they're like, well, while you're talking to them, they'll just keep doing their.
The centrifuges are spinning.
They're building them now. It doesn't matter whether you're talking.
Yeah.
They're not doing the talking. They're not like, has the conversation started? It's not like in The Great Escape where they sort of, or in what's the Tim Robbins movie that everybody loves? Shawshank. Right. It's not like he waits for the thunder and he hits the pipe so that the guards don't hear the thunder.
Right.
They're talking. Go, build the centrifuges.
Right.
It's all nonsense talk. Of course we should talk to him. There is no other argument to we should talk to him.
And Obama ran both times on saying, I would talk to enemies, and he's only doing exactly what he said.
Well, here's my theory, and then we got to jump. I think that maybe Iran feels more comfortable, like they don't feel a need to pursue their nuclear program anymore because we took out their number one enemy, which was Iraq. So now they have Iraq also. So maybe they feel a little more, secure that now we have these two countries, we'd have to worry about that. And so we don't need our nuclear right now. We'd rather get all the sanctions lifted and let's get back on course. And then we'll worry about the nuclear thing later because we don't really feel that threatened anymore because we got rid of Saddam Hussein.
Right. At some point, very quickly, it just could occur to them, we have a tremendous amount of oil and we can be a significant player on the world stage if we feel like it. All we got to do is smile pretty.
Right, which also goes to show that sometimes sanctions do actually work because we've completely crippled the country. So now if they are coming to talk to us, then it shows that not every time do you have to bomb people.
Worked in Libya too.
To get them to talk to you.